he takes mescaline and publishes his visionary episode. Why did I say that? 1954, Aldous Huxley.
I think you're having
tripping.
an episode.
I'm tripping and haven't had anything. Okay.
Hey everyone, it's Elliot.
And Todd. Welcome to Two Designers Walk Into a Bar, an ongoing conversation about pop culture and iconic design. Today we're taking a trip through the looking glass.
We're kicking off our series on psychedelia with its origins, the impact on a generation of pop culture, and its lasting effects.
I hope we don't have any lasting effects.
Regardless, psychedelia's origins are messy, fascinating, and full of odd little historical crosscurrents.
So ask the bartender for a couple of psychedelic frogs.
And to also stop the walls from dripping rainbow colors.
As we chase the white rabbit through the window and back into the bar.
Oh,
all right.
That was wonderful.
I know, that was magic, wasn't it?
Well, you know, I think this whole episode is going to be about magic. The question is it going to be magic that only you can see? Or is it going to be magic that can be shared with other people?
Yeah. We'll know by the comments we get from our listeners. They're going to be like, what? What
the hell are you guys talking about?
Yeah.
Well, we get those comments all the time. Why should this episode be any different?
Well, so this is going to be a little bit of a reveal then.
What kind of bar do you guys go to exactly?
Hey, okay, so Elliot, I have a question for you to kick off this series.
Sure.
And I think I know what you're going to say, but just for grits and giggles here, what do you think is the decade that comes to mind when you think of the psychedelic era?
Oh, well, the decade is easily the 60s.
Yeah. I think everybody would say that because I think what we're going to find out is all of the pieces kind of started before that, but it kind of hit mainstream, if there's such a thing as psychedelic mainstream in the 60s. But the earlier roots of psychedelia, which is, let's face it, it was made in a laboratory, right? Like a lot of good things.
Right. Better living through chemistry, yeah.
It starts way back in 1938 with a Swiss chemist named Albert Hofmann, and he was synthesizing this molecule called lysergic acid diethylamide. And I'll say that last word again because my tongue is getting wrapped around my tooth. Diethylamide. We'll spell it out for you, too, on our episode page.
My guess is a lot of our listeners already know it. That's the D in LSD.
Yeah, oh, yeah. I you know what? Thank you for straightening that out because I probably did not say the acronym of those three words.
This is getting off to an amazing start.
I know, okay.
We've been doing some research.
LSD. It's LSD, folks. Surprise! It's LSD. Don't look it up. All right. But Hofmann was working for Sandoz Laboratories in Basel, Switzerland, when he synthesized this compound. And it was initially shelved as unremarkable. And it wasn't until like 5 years later, on April 16th, that he really rediscovered the effects of the compound when he accidentally absorbed some through his fingertips. And then 3 days later, on the 19th,
I like
you've got
this
a mental
already.
picture.
Yeah, absolutely. This is great.
All right, so 3 days later, on April 19th, he was like, okay, well, something's happening here. I'm just going to take a lot of it. See what happens. So he purposely ingested 250 micrograms. And honestly, to our listeners, I don't know if that's a lot, if that's a little. I have no idea. But
did he just have like a little eyedropper or pipette and just like sort of put it on his tongue? Like, how did he do it?
I don't know. Maybe it was his tongue. Maybe it was an enema. I don't know how he took it because that's his business, Elliot.
Well, we're making it our business, I guess.
I would say probably in liquid form.
Yeah.
So he took this, and then he headed home on his bicycle, like you do in Basel, Switzerland.
I've been to Switzerland, never to Basel, Switzerland. I did see some bicycles there.
Yeah.
But it's more, they have two-wheel technology in Europe.
There you
I
go.
have that
Well,
on
that's good.
authority.
Well, this became a very famous bicycle ride home because Hofmann became the first person ever to experience an acid trip on his bike ride home.
Okay. So tell me what this was like, because I'm really curious.
Yes. So at first, it was kind of these wavering and distorted visions, created a little anxiety in him, and he started feeling like he was going insane.
Wow. Okay, so he definitely knew something was wrong.
Yeah.
Like he, after. So that's not fun.
Nah.
I think most people think a bike ride's a little bit of a lark, but that does not sound particularly enjoyable. Yeah.
It doesn't sound like it, and it gets better.
Oh,
He also thought, once he arrived home, he thought his next door neighbor was a malevolent witch.
Wow. That'd be a great band name.
Yeah, Malevolent Witch. Yeah, trademark that. And it wasn't too long after that he transitioned into a bit of a more enjoyable state. And about that process, about that experience, he later wrote, "Little by little, I could begin to enjoy the unprecedented colors and plays of shapes that persisted behind my closed eyes. Kaleidoscopic, fantastic images surged in on me. They were alternating, variegated, opening and then closing themselves in circles and spirals, exploding in colored fountains." The guy can craft some words, right?
Yeah.
Rearranging and hybridizing themselves in constant flux. Now, how does that sound for you?
That sounds awesome. So this is sort of, what this reminds me of is like, what was it? Samuel Taylor Coleridge and Kubla Khan or whatever he wrote when he was on his opium trip, and he visualized this whole poem, and then he came to and he wrote it down, but he could only remember the first third, and it became this classic poem that just was out of this multi-day opium binge. Like, do you know this story?
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so this is sort of like an update of that, I think, a little bit. So, yeah, certain mind, man. When you have the gift, I guess, this is how it manifests itself. You just need a little bit of a kickstart.
Yeah. So, by the way, Elliot, in case you're looking for a holiday to celebrate, Bicycle Day is now observed every April 19th, and it started in DeKalb, Illinois in 1985 by Thomas B. Roberts, who happens to be a professor at Northern Illinois University.
So what does this guy do? Does he dip his fingers into a beaker of LSD and then hop on his bike and go for a ride? Oh, okay.
Yeah,
so
but have you celebrated it? That's basically it.
I am. Tomorrow might be bicycle day for it. Hell, tonight might be bicycle day. I'm just curious. Tell me more about this. I'm really curious.
So basically, a bunch of people dose on LSD and do bicycle parades and probably dance around and listen to Fish and, take their clothes off. But it's basically that.
Okay. Well, are they good-looking people if they're taking their clothes?
I can't say. I don't know. I don't know because I've never participated in Bicycle Day. I do love riding my bike, but I don't think I could do it high at all. I think that would be dangerous.
Yeah. The friendly Canadians giving you an edible or two, and then you start cruising around.
Yeah. Okay. So that's...
Well, wait, hold on. So does this only happen in Illinois, or is this like a global thing? No,
it's a global thing.
Okay.
It is prominent in, let me see, how's the best way to put this? In communities that have a prevalent LSD use. Big one in San Francisco. You used to live there, so I figured you would know that.
Well, I don't remember a lot about that, which meant I did it right.
Because you were riding your bicycle too much.
I was too. It was just for exercise and sightseeing, Todd.
Okay. All right. Put a pin in LSD, Elliot.
Okay.
Because not to be outdone, in 1955, banker turned ethnomycologist.
Huh.
That's a word you got to roll out of your banker turned ethnomycologist.
Yeah.
R. Gordon Wasson attends a Mazatec ritual in Oaxaca. That didn't sound right, but it's spelled like Oaxaca, but it's Oaxaca, Mexico.
Uh-huh.
Anyway, Mr. Wasson, he was introduced.
And his brother Wassoff.
Wasson. Yeah, wax off. And wax. Oh, my gosh.
I need you to come over and wax my bike.
Oh, man. I hope the listeners appreciated that one.
Oh, that was brilliant, wasn't it?
At this ritual, he was introduced to the effects of psilocybin mushrooms.
Uh-huh.
And he wrote in 1957 Life magazine, he created an article called Seeking the Magic Mushroom. I'm sure that got some attention. That was a mass cultural bombshell.
Okay.
So you can imagine.
The mushroom cloud, if you will.
Yeah. Look at you. You're on a roll today.
I am, man. Well, it's bicycle day, Todd.
Yeah, I know, right. So here we are. We've made our way up into the 50s and the early 60s. So psychedelia is kind of getting from science to subculture.
Yeah, so it sounds like this Life magazine article was a little bit of a watershed moment. Like we've talked about in past episodes, Life was one of the biggest magazines in the country.
Yeah.
And so this really, for lack of a better phrase, I won't say it like mainstreamed it, but it certainly made people aware of it. And prior to that, they hadn't even been aware probably that it existed.
Yeah, and like you said, it was a big deal. It was a cultural touchstone for certainly most of America. So these things, as we were talking about in the introduction, these things start to come together, right? So here we are. And in the 1950s, maybe, disclaimer, maybe the CIA secretly used LSD, hoping it could be a truth serum or mind control tool. Just maybe. They did.
Yeah,
they
I think it was more than a maybe. Yeah, there's ample. This isn't Area 51 conspiracy. Like, there's ample paperwork on this. Like, this definitely happened.
I was trying to keep us out of CIA jail.
Yeah, or like getting on that Ancient Aliens show or something. Ancient tripping, or I don't know what would be the drug version of Ancient Aliens. Like, what would that be?
I guess that's what you would find in Oaxaca, wouldn't you?
Yeah, ancient Mayan hippies.
Huh. Okay, so we're up to the mid-1950s, early 60s, like I said. Aldous Huxley, you've heard of Aldous Huxley.
I have.
1954, Aldous Huxley, he takes mescaline and publishes his visionary essay, The Doors of Perception, comparing the experience to opening the doors of perception, experience of taking mescaline, and you have to say it like I just did. And the book profoundly affected and influenced musicians, particularly the Doors, who named themselves after that book. I didn't know that.
Yeah, that's pretty. Yeah, that's if you're not a Doors fan, Todd.
I'm not. I'm not.
Doors fans know that. I would say of all bands of that era, for whatever reason, the Doors is probably my favorite.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. I didn't know that. I would say they were not in my top 50 bands.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, I don't know. I didn't get it. I don't think I got it.
Well,
I like them.
Move over, Prince. I mean, now the Doors have arrived.
I know. Oh, okay. All right, back to what we're talking about here.
What are we talking about?
All right, we're now, okay. Put a pin in 1960.
I'm starting to run out of pins,
I
man.
know.
I'm
Well, we're
getting
to it's all coming together.
Oh, okay.
All the strings that you're tying together here are coming. So in 1960, there was a project at Harvard called the Harvard Psilocybin. Psilocybin, yeah.
Holy smokes.
I know. I'm not drunk. There was a project called Harvard Psilocybin Project, where psychologists Timothy Leary and Richard Alpert began testing mushrooms on students at Harvard, which I don't think you can do that anymore.
Well, probably, I mean, the students would have had to sign up for this, right? It was like, hey, we're conducting these. It's not like they just put it in the soup at the cafeteria or something, right?
I don't know. But
I don't think so.
In 1962, something called their Good Friday experiment is one where they actually gave psilocybin to seminary students in a chapel. And most students reported mystical, transformative experiences. I guess the minority experienced hell.
Yeah, the devil showed up. Yeah, just take this newfangled communion wafer here, and the walls will start talking to you. Just stare at those stained glass windows over there and see what happens. Wow, that's amazing.
So not long after that, in 1963, Harvard fired them both for pushing psychedelics outside lab protocols.
Yeah, well, we sort of know, if you follow pop culture, you know sort of what happened with Timothy Leary.
Yeah, I mean, that firing kind of sparked him being a countercultural guru, didn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. And, we talk a little bit about what led up to that counterculture in our Beat Generation episodes, because there is a lot of crossover with some of those groups of people as one era, the baton was sort of passed from one era to the next.
Yeah.
But, speaking of the beats, Todd, I think that it might be time for you to make sure more drinks are on the way.
And speaking of dead beats, I'm sure they'll be added to my tab.
Hey, your idea, not mine.
We'll be right back. Hi. We want to take a moment to mention that if you're enjoying this episode, we have an archive of topics ranging from the Olympics to movie posters.
Think Ghostbusters.
Iconic images.
Think Bigfoot.
Punk music.
The Ramones.
Saturday morning cartoons.
The Pink Panther.
And failed products like OK Soda. Visit our website at twodesignerswalkintoabar.com for full episode notes and visuals, the latest blog content, and to sign up for our newsletter.
Follow us on social media. We can be found on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, LinkedIn, and YouTube. Find the links on our website or search using the phrase Two Designers Walk Into a Bar.
Most importantly, leave a review on Apple Podcasts. It helps more people like you find podcasts like this.
And tell a friend about us. Send them a link to our podcast from your listening platform of choice.
And if you're inclined, buy our merchandise. Stickers, coasters, magnets, t-shirts. We're designers. We make good stuff, and it helps support the show.
Get in touch. Use the contact form on our website or send an email to hello@twodesignerswalkintoabar.com.
We read every message we get. Honest.
And we're available for speaking gigs. Email us to learn more.
Okay, now back to the bar.
All right, Todd, I appreciate that round of drinks that you so generously offered to add to your tab. I kind of feel a little bad because I think you were a tad vulnerable when when you came up with that idea. I might have influenced it subtly, but mind games. Just like this whole LSD, psilocybin, mushroom. It's nothing but mind games. It's all about what you think. Let's focus on what's coming next. So why don't you tell me and the listeners a little bit more about after the 60s, the beginning of the 60s, what kept the psychedelia bus rolling here?
Oh, well, it's funny you mentioned bus because up into the mid-60s now, psychedelics went from subculture into culture.
Okay.
And a big part of that is because of Ken Kesey and the Merry Pranksters, right? You've talked about them before.
Yes, and their lovely bus Further that was driven by Neil Cassidy, Jack Kerouac's buddy. Yeah, I love this. Okay.
Yeah, and for people that also love pop culture thread, Ken Kesey was the author of One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, which was turned into a movie.
Yeah, because he had worked in a mental hospital, if I remember, and that was what inspired the book, yeah.
All right, so what was their role, right?
Yeah.
They started organizing these things called acid tests, which were a series of parties that were held at his farm in La Honda, California. And what you do at an acid test is you take acid, lots of music, lots of black light art, and lots of strobe lights.
Okay.
And that's
okay.
I don't know where the quiz comes in. I don't know if it's a pop quiz. I don't know if you got to score 70 or above.
I think it's more of an endurance challenge.
Is that what it is?
If you come out the other side in one piece. Well, I mean, this also reminds me of Tom Wolfe has his famous book, The Electric Kool-Aid Acid Test, right? Yeah. That's all about this time period.
And I think that came after, that book came after, I think it was influenced by that title, The Acid Test.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Okay, so I mentioned music. This is in the Bay Area of California.
Mm-hmm.
The house band for these acid tests were none other than the Warlocks, who would soon change their name to the Grateful Dead. You probably knew that.
Yeah, I think if you're tripping on acid and you've got some band in the corner named the Warlocks with black light, you probably already have enough to worry about. You don't need the Warlocks.
You don't need the Warlocks staring at you from the corner, playing a song that's 37 minutes long.
Exactly. Yeah. It's like, man, I mean, I've listened to the Grateful Dead when I've been sober, and like that's a harrowing experience in and of itself.
Can you imagine like the people they're like elbowing each other to like, dude, I'm tripping so hard. This song feels like it's been going on for 37 minutes. And they're like, no, it really has.
It actually sounds good.
We're winning over some Dead fans now.
Oh, yeah. Well, screw them.
All right. Speaking of music, I think it's fair to say it's probably the thing that people most associate with psychedelia.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, that and the art, of course, but they are so intertwined, as these acid tests told us. I think it's something we're going to dig into actually a lot more in our next episode. I'm giving you a little taste of that right now. But I wanted to leave us with a couple things today. First of all, I was very curious because I've always heard the word psychedelic and psychedelia, and I figured psyche, had something to do with the brain, right?
Yeah.
But I didn't know what delia was. And then funkadelic, that threw me way off.
That's where you get, that's where you get delicious meats.
Oh, is that it? I think so. It's the delicatessen of the mind. That's what it means, people.
Yeah. Hungry mind.
No,
yeah.
Actually, no. It's worth mentioning that psychedelic is from the Greek word psyche, which means soul or mind, plus delos, which means to manifest. So, manifesting your mind, basically. And interestingly enough, the word was first coined in 1956, but it really doesn't enter pop culture until the mid-'60s.
Well, okay, so there was this 10-year lag, which I sort of understand because, as we talked about earlier with Life magazine and some of these other things, it started to become more mainstream. So I can get why no one knew the word, because no one would know what it was referencing anyway, right?
Yeah.
Who is the genius who came up with this?
A guy named Humphrey Osmond, who was a psychiatrist.
Okay. Was he one of the Osmond brothers? Because I don't think about them as having psychedelic music.
No, I don't think they were very psychedelic either. No, I don't think he was an Osmond brother. If he was way related somewhere.
He might have had a brother. He just wasn't like
he could have been an Osmond brother, just not the Osmond brother.
Right.
But he was actually British. And speaking of, he was involved with Aldous Huxley, who we mentioned at the first part of the episode, who was our mescaline taker. And
okay.
He was actually the one who gave Huxley the dose of mescaline and supervised his experience that inspired the doors of perception.
Oh, wow. Okay, this is great. It's so funny because when I think of psychedelia, I mean, I guess I think of British. Like, I certainly don't think of, for whatever reason, I don't think of continental Europe, right?
Yeah,
I think of Britain and kind of the go-go 60s and Carnaby Street and that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And then I think about, like, exactly what you said, Golden Gate Park and the Human Being and the Grateful Dead and Northern California.
And like the Village in New York City.
Yeah, that kind of stuff. So I think about these little pockets of hipsterism or whatever.
Yeah.
So I can see why it really took, I just think it's absolutely fascinating that it took Life magazine to sort of break this thing wide open. I mean, I get why it happened, but I wonder who, I mean, I guess it's like, I would have just loved to have been in the room I wanted to see the expression on the face of the editor when he was listening to the pitch.
Yeah, right. He's like, okay, mushrooms, delicious on pizza, but that's about all. That's all you can
now
use
why
them
would
for.
people be interested in that? Sort of like, but it's really fascinating, right? Because we think of the 50s and the early 60s as being fairly buttoned up, right?
Yeah.
But I mean, Life magazine, to their credit, they were taking some big cuts. They were talking about some pretty wild stuff.
Oh yeah. So I touched on that we were going to do more about music in our next episode.
Yeah.
I would be really sad if I didn't ask you to guess who the first psychedelic album was from. You don't have to tell me the name of the album, but just give me the name of the band.
Well, I mean, you mentioned the Doors earlier, so like that's who I would lean on.
Makes
a lot
of
sense.
sense.
It'd be something like the Doors,
or the Grateful Dead, maybe even. Makes sense.
But yeah, certainly one of those too, because I mean they were sort of in that scene, in that space. They were getting inspired by the work that was going on, things that were being written about, right?
Well, those are wonderful guesses, but unfortunately, it's another powerhouse in the music industry, Elliot. 1966, the band The 13th Floor Elevators actually released the psychedelic sounds of the 13th Floor Elevators.
I have a problem with this band name. Really two problems. I mean, so the first problem, and again, this is
3 words in the band name.
I know, but you got to keep in mind I'm not on acid right now.
Oh, okay.
My first problem is elevators, by virtue of what they are, go to all floors, don't they? A 13th floor elevator is called a room because it stays on that floor. Then my other criticism is, most buildings don't actually have a 13th floor so I guess maybe it's sort of like the Harry Potter thing. It's like the train platform, right? The 13th floor is what's taking you into the other dimension. You get to see how the other half lives or whatever.
I think you're trying to apply logic where logic is not going to work. This is not that realm.
Okay.
Elliot. This is
so if you listen to this album,
did you ever think about that? The whole floor could be an elevator.
Well, there are floors in elevators.
Well, anyway, so that was the first album to use the term psychedelic in its title. And
are we going to put a link to this on our episode
We should,
page?
Because I think it's really worth our listeners investing a few minutes of their precious time to understand what this music sounded like. I'll try to describe it for you.
Okay.
I
want to.
you want to hear this?
I want you to use vocabulary to describe. Okay, go for it. I'm going to just kick back and listen to this. Okay.
A guitarist by the name of Rocky Erickson often performed with a jug player.
Oh, okay.
Who, like a whoo, right?
Yeah.
Who amplified strange tones by blowing across the jug's mouth, like you do here in the South.
Yeah.
And that was one of the earliest trippy sonic experiments. They would add effects and like reverb and phase shifters and stuff like that to a
psychedelic jug band.
Yeah. I mean, come on.
This is great. I love this. Okay. So where were these people from?
I don't know that, but I can look it up and we'll post it on our website.
Okay.
They were
I was wondering
on the 13th floor, wherever that was.
Right. Yeah. So whatever place has tall buildings.
Yeah.
I was wondering. What I was wondering is why a jug? Like, did it just happen to be sitting around? Was this like a riff on something that? Yeah.
Why not?
I mean, I love it. I think it's
why not
great.
a harmonica? I mean.
Yeah, or a washboard or whatever. Zydeco, man. Can you imagine some psychedelic Zydeco
Maybe
music
they were
something?
like, what's the most lo-fi noisemaker we have, and let's make it trippy, which anyway.
Yeah. And it could have also been like a giant like wine jug. They could have been, beats, and they could have been drinking like their cheap wine, their rot gut wine that would come in the 1 gallon
makes sense
jugs. Yeah. I know you're a fan of White Lightning, Todd, but we can't unless we do more research, we can't confirm that in fact is the type of jug used.
I don't think you can get trippy noises off of the mouth of a mason jar, though. I don't think you can do that, but
anyway. We can give it a try.
All right. Okay. So now, we're getting into peak psychedelia time. The summer of love is coming up. So why don't we put a pin in it for today and pick back up next time as we dig into the sights and sounds of the era.
Speaking of summer of love, you could show me some of that love by grabbing us another round. What do you think?
Oh, God, you are rolling 100% with the puns today. How did I not see that one coming?
I don't know. Maybe it's because of those mushrooms I dropped in the wing sauce earlier.
Well, what? See you next time, hopefully.
If all goes according to plan.